Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Jodo Cast, your Star Wars gaming podcast. This is episode 59. I had to double-check that, but it is 59. My name is Evan Lewis. I am, of course, joined by Leo Andry. Any day now.
I was just nodding my head.
Oh, all right.
An agreement.
You could just say nod. /nod. And Joe Latovsky.
Buongiorno.
There he goes. He knows what's up. He knows how this works. Anyways, so here we are, episode 59. Before we get to anything else, we have to give a big thank you shout out to a new patron. Pausing for cheering.
Yeah, sorry, I was focused on something
That's
else.
all right. I don't blame you. I just usually come to expect it now. So yes, thank you. There it is. Be Standing. Thank you very much for joining the coolest people on the planet. We really appreciate your time and attention, and we look forward to providing you and others with more awesome content that you have helped to create. So thank you so much. And thank you to everyone else who has already been a part of the best team of superheroes the Earth has ever seen. And let's get to what we've been playing. Actually, you know what? Let's do Leo.
Why?
Because you have something to tell us that you've been playing.
Not really. I haven't been playing anything except Diablo 3.
All right, that's something. How's that Necromancer?
But that's fun. Been blowing up corpses and stuff. So, but as far as Star Wars gaming, about the only thing I've got in is just playing Galaxy of Heroes. You know.
So you haven't deleted that yet. That's good. That's a good sign.
No, like I said, it's a time killer.
Yeah.
And
all right.
And I've finally got I've got my Phoenix Squad characters leveled up, so the next time the Thrawn event comes around, I'll be able to get him unlocked. That's and then I'll probably be done playing. Unlock Thrawn and then be done.
Goals are good. It's good to have goals in life. Okay, well, you know what? If that's all you got, that's all you got. We'll talk to Joe next.
I've been playing... we had a Destiny Store Championship last weekend. I made top 8 out of, I think it was 12 or 13 players. It was fun. All 4 of my games were, I think, basically came down to who had the next action / how hard it was for me to re-roll my dice after pitching all the cards in my hand trying to get one thing to pop up. So I went 2-2, but I'm pretty sure I could have very easily had gone 4-0 or 0-4. All my games were that close. But I had Mon Mothma and 2 Hired Guns, which I happen to like a lot. But it was a fun event, and then I'm looking forward to the next one in August. Not sure what I'm playing in that one. Played the LCG because there was also the LCG Store Championship, which I think happened after our last episode. So yeah, I did that, and I won one game. There was 6 players, which I was actually impressed by. And I won one of my games, one of my 6 games, I guess, because there was 3 rounds. But it was fun.
What did you run for your 2 decks?
Rebels and Sith. Rebels was a mix of smugglers and rebels, and Sith was just all Sith. You can see my Sith deck in the card game video that I put up recently. It's a new card game video, so if you actually like the card game, there's a video of it on our YouTube. And I played Battlefront.
Yeah, you did.
And there's actually some new Battlefront videos up, but they're actually super short. A long time ago, the Battlefront videos that went up on our YouTube were an hour long, and I don't blame anybody for not watching them. But the latest ones are 5 minutes long, and they're of me and Leo doesn't play that with me. Me and Evan playing, except one of them where I rank 100 because I finally made rank 100.
Yippee!
Confetti. And now I don't know if I'm going to play that game ever again. Which is, maybe if you want to keep playing, I'll join you because it's still fun. But now that I've reached 100, I don't have much of an incentive to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, I may. I'll probably get the itch occasionally to jump in there. But I've got Andromeda to finish. I'm going back to playing non-Star Wars Destiny before non-Star Wars Destiny 2 comes out. We'll have to refer to it with that name, non-Star Wars Destiny.
Yeah, and I've been playing Ghost Recon Wildlands, and I've also got The Witcher 3,
Ooh.
I think it is, that I should start because apparently those games are good.
If it's the really good one, yeah, it's Witcher 3. If it's the really
Yeah, it's
bad
like
one,
the-
it's Witcher 1.
It's like the Game of the Year edition.
Yeah, it's 3.
Yeah.
I've heard that's good too. I've been meaning to get on that, but I still have to put the finishing touches on Inquisition also, so gonna be a while.
I'm never finishing Inquisition, which is too bad.
Well, as Joe mentioned, I played some Battlefront, and I actually completed some.
Right.
What? I don't even know what that was.
That was me giving you a compliment.
Oh, I couldn't even
It
make out
sounded
the
like
words.
you were letting the air out of a balloon. So,
Or like one of your cats jumped up on your lap and you're like, "Hello, how are you?" So yes, hooray for me! And you know what? I did have some good matches that night. I was not awful, as everyone can see. I killed Boba Fett. That's gonna
yeah, you did.
go on my
In
wall
the
of victory.
Stupid game mode that we played.
Yeah, Leo, I don't know if you saw that video or not, but we accidentally went into, what was it, Hero Hunt instead of Villains
Right.
versus Heroes or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And it was just Joe and me against this one Boba Fett who already had 9 kills somehow. So we just spent the entire game, the two of us, just running
Trying to kill
away
Boba
and
Fett.
whittling him down.
And then it turned out that when time runs out, it keeps going until he's dead. Which is stupid.
Yeah, it was not a good experience, but it was funny as hell. So I guess in that regard, it was a really good experience, just a really painful one. And oh yeah, I unlocked a hut contract, so that made me happy. I accomplished something for once. What else? Oh, I haven't really played much else Star Wars. Destiny 2 beta, non-Star Wars Destiny, I'm sorry, was this past weekend. I didn't get to play a ton of it, but I played enough of it, and it was a lot of fun. That's an amazing shooter. Like, just the action on it alone is fantastic. And then went back to Destiny 1 because I never beat that. I bought some more Star Wars Destiny cards. And did I get anything? I got a Phasma, so that was good. And a data pad, which doesn't seem good. So, not my best, but it's options. I pulled a Krennic also recently, but no Death Troopers, so kind of not useful. And that's kind of it, I guess. Oh, did we talk? I think we did. We talked about the LCG pack that came out recently and how amazing it is.
I don't know. We might have.
Okay. Well,
Maybe didn't.
I'm sure people have been hearing me ooh and ah about it for a while, but have both of you picked that up?
Yep. I plan on making a Jedi Smuggler deck whenever I find time to play that game again.
it's still fresh in its shrink wrap.
What? Come on. It's got some of the best cards.
Yeah, but what am I gonna do with them?
You're going to make...
There's anyone around here to play with?
You're going to make...
Doesn't Dan play?
Maybe not. Leo
Guess
died.
not.
Yep, Leo's dead. Okay.
The idea of playing that game was too much for him.
He got too excited thinking about all those possibilities. Well, then I guess I'm done. Leo's death has just killed the conversation.
Sorry.
All right, so that's what we had been playing, and now we'll move on to our main topic, which is going to be looking ahead to what we can expect and what we hope we'll hear about at GenCon this year. And as you've heard me say plenty of times recently, I'm not going to get to attend all the things that I want to, but...
Why don't we, just in case there's somebody listening who doesn't know what GenCon is, why don't we tell them what GenCon is?
It's an excellent idea. Although I would hope if they're listening to this, they might know. But
they might be new. They might be
right.
new to the hobby.
You're not wrong.
I'm sure there's plenty of Star Wars fans who don't know what Star Wars Celebration is.
I shouldn't laugh. You're probably right. Okay, so GenCon is arguably the biggest tabletop-centric gaming convention in the world. And that's not bragging to say that it's the world. And if I sound like I'm bragging, I am a little bit because it's right here in Indianapolis.
Well, what would its competitor be? Essen?
Origins. Origins in Columbus.
Those are bigger than Essen?
I don't know how big that is.
Saying if you're going to throw out claims like that, you gotta be able to back it up.
Well, the fact that I'm not familiar with how big Essen is probably informs my claim that GenCon and Origins are bigger. You can correct me if it turns out that I'm wrong, but the only other competitor I can think of would be PAX.
Just let us know how horribly wrong we are.
That's usually your job.
Okay, there's a Board Game Geek thread on the topic. Here's the big cons I know of. Tell me of the ones I'm missing. Blah, blah, blah. Spiel, which is in Essen, Germany. GenCon, Origins, and BGGCon. He doesn't have them listed as saying this one is bigger than this one, though. I guess we're all right.
So, getting back on topic, it takes place here in Indianapolis, and it has since, I think, 2000, back when it was still owned and operated by Wizards of the Coast, not long after their acquisition of TSR, who had been the former people that ran it because it was created also by Gary Gygax and Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and that's where the Gen for GenCon comes from, is Lake Geneva Wargaming Convention.
Huh, I always wondered.
There you go. Now
I always thought it was short for
half the battle.
Genetic modification because they slip stuff to you in your drinks that sends you out just a little bit different.
That's every bit as likely. But yes, that's the history of GenCon in a nutshell. It used to be started in Lake Geneva, went to Milwaukee, then Indianapolis. So it stayed in the Midwest at least, and people literally from all over the world come to Indy, and that's where our city makes the money. That and the Indy 500. And it's 4 days. Most conventions are 3 days, but this is 4 days for most people and 5 days for people in the industry and librarians, teachers, and press people. We get to go on Wednesday and go to some special industry-focused seminars and stuff like that. And if you have only recently started listening to us, I've been going since 2012. In the past couple years, I've managed to put out a podcast a day, just recapping everything that I do. And someone else mentioned those, and we'll get to some listener comments later. But yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it this time. Thanks, family, for scheduling stuff.
You're not going to GenCon at all this time?
I am going to go Wednesday and Thursday, but Friday and Saturday are the 2 days this year. Oh, and this is the 50th GenCon. This is the golden anniversary. It's GenCon 50. So it's a big deal. And yeah, so
I feel like we should start a GoFundMe to pay your family the damages they'll suffer for you not being with them that weekend.
It's not a bad idea.
Evan, we really wanted to be with you. All right, how much is it going to cost to make you feel better about this? Then we can set that goal for our GoFundMe, and our listeners can help.
Well, I mean, they've still got time. By the time they hear this, there will still be time to help me out. We'll see what we can do.
There's still a chance to save Evan.
All right, so, yes, 4 days, and this is where they hold the North American Championships for all the Fantasy Flight games. They haven't split up these ones at all, so the Star Wars ones and the non-Star Wars ones are still all together. And if you guys think we should, we can just give a really quick breakdown of what the schedule looks like, because sometimes it's not the easiest to find on the website if you don't know what you're looking for. And most of these are still have seats available. Some don't, but most of them do.
If you're quick about it, I can't imagine someone trying to find this information is going to pull the podcast back up and double check here.
They might go, "Ooh, this is really interesting. I'm going to really pay attention right now," and then they can, rewind a little bit and say, "Thursday is when Imperial Assault and Armada both start their first rounds at."
Are you going to play an Imperial Assault?
I would have.
Have you ever played in an Imperial Assault tournament?
Nope, I sure haven't.
I feel like the North American Championships is probably a good way to start.
You should just don't even try to win. Just play like a Rancor squad and show off our new cards.
Yeah.
That's going to be all. I don't have a Rancor. Why would I have a Rancor? I don't have a Rancor.
Because you should have bought Jabba's Realm because it's one of the best expansions so far.
I don't doubt it, but I haven't even made it out of the core set yet.
Well, you should at least swing by and throw some of our Rancor cards at random players so that they'd be like, what's this? Oh, this is cool.
Actually, if I see any of my friends from the Muncie group, because I know they'll be playing, I will make sure those folks get some. Because they're really good dudes, and they've earned it.
Well, if you see them playing, try and get them. Just go find somebody and be like, hey, find the judge, be like, hey, for the Jodo cast, you heard of me? You probably heard of me. We're a big deal. And then try and get them to give you I think it's the Obi-Wan card. It's either Obi-Wan or R2-D2. I can't remember which was for Nationals and which was for North American.
I should trade with the judge?
Uh-huh.
No, just give it to me, please.
I tried that already.
Well, you can try again. We're getting more recognition within, for sure, organized play. Especially if there's an actual person from organized play and not just like a volunteer from GenCon. They might know about us and say, "Hey, give it to us," and we'll give some away.
That is true. I need to look up the name of our person
because I'm pretty sure the people in organized play know about us.
Okay. Well, for better or for worse, I'm sure they do by now. And then at 11 a.m. is the first flight of X-Wing. So they do 2 opening rounds of X-Wing. So you got to pick one of these miniatures games to play, and unless you're going to try to do X-Wing Flight 2 the next day before the finals of IA and Armada, you better just dedicate yourself to one. And then, Friday are the finals for Imperial Assault and Armada. Those are in the afternoon. LCG starts that morning. X-Wing Flight 2 opening round starts Friday morning. And then, I can't remember if I'll have to look it up. Darn it, if it's 11 o'clock or if it's 1 o'clock for the Fantasy Flight Games in-flight report.
Which is the big thing, the big deal, the thing that we're all going to be refreshing Twitter and the Fantasy Flight thing about constantly.
I should have a surrogate there for me.
I guess that's kind of okay.
Are you going to give him our Twitter account?
Is he dyeing his hair red?
I could probably talk him into it. It's Christian, our friend that used to work with us on the Board and Base podcast. So he's legit. He's a really good podcaster. He'll do a great job. And we may try to knock out some quick and dirty podcasts, super dirty podcasts.
Real dirty.
But it'll be like 5 podcasters who accidentally swore.
Accidentally. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so the if there's folks that don't know what the in-flight report is, it's their annual sort of press conference where they talk about here's the things that we accomplished this past year, and then they start hitting us with here's all the cool stuff we've announced and a whole bunch of new announcements that you had no idea was coming.
Yeah. The in-flight report is really the only thing a lot of us are paying attention to GenCon for. Especially me, because I just haven't had time for non-Star Wars games lately, so all the other stuff that's out there, I'm not really going to be paying too much attention to, which is kind of sad.
Well, and there's only two things that I am definitely going to be picking up at GenCon. One is the Legend of the Five Rings LCG from Fantasy Flight, so they'll be talking about that too at the in-flight report. And then also Starfinder, the sci-fi version of Pathfinder RPG. Yeah, going to be pretty cool. Saturday. Saturday is a very, very full day. They've got an Armada team event, so I can't even imagine how big that must be. Does that use a double-lengthed play area?
I would imagine it's still 3x6. You can't go bigger than that.
Okay, well, I don't know. I've never seen someone do it, so I don't know. And then the LCG Finals are Saturday. Saturday is when Destiny starts. They started on the busiest day, the highest attendance day, and it's sold out. Everything else we've talked about, there's still seats for. Destiny, no way. It is sold out. It's sold out quick. And
the LCG isn't sold out? Man, that's weird.
I know. I was even surprised the first year that I did it. I'm like, wait a minute, I can still get in? This is crazy.
And then you see like the other three people sitting there like, hey, you playing in the North American Championships?
That's how it always starts, is that there's like two or three people and you're like, oh, sweet, this is going to go well for me. And then by the time it starts, there's like several dozen, like, I hate all of you. And let's see here, X-Wing
They don't like
Day
you
2.
either.
No, they don't. They do not like me. X-Wing Day 2 for both flights where they converge, and then the finals. So that's a lot of hours.
I wonder if they'll be streaming like they do at Worlds. I don't think they typically don't have a live stream of their Gen Con stuff, but you never know. Maybe this year will be a first.
I mean, it's a shame that if they don't, because the competition is going to be every bit as good.
They obviously just don't have as much control over the space because it's not their home.
Well, I mean, they that's true, but they certainly have plenty of space. They are given, an entire hall for this. They can pretty much push around anybody else that they want. With even the Magic the Gathering area is tiny compared to what they've got. And let's see, what was I saying? Oh yeah, X-Wing. There's a Hangar Bay event as well as Team Epic events. And then also Saturday is a special event this year that I also really, really wanted to get to.
I think this is what I'm the most mad at your family about.
I will pass that along to them. When I'm in the receiving line, I'm like, my friend hates you. Congratulations, my friend hates you.
I don't hate them. I'm just pretty disappointed in them.
Yeah, I
should
did.
have you gotta get like little cardboard cutouts of Joe and Leo that sit on your shoulder. Little word bubbles that just say, "We hate you."
That sounds.
No,
I was thinking that more like the angel and the devil thing, except we're both just telling him the same thing. Ditch them. Go to Gen Con.
Yeah, ditch these losers.
This is the one thing that I'm really hoping that I can find a stream of this 30 years of Star Wars RPG panel. Mostly because it's gonna one of the guests is gonna be Bill Slavicsek.
Yeah, Slavicsek. That's correct.
Yeah, because he did a whole bunch of West End Games stuff. I think he might have been.
Did we say all of the panelists?
No,
we did not.
I don't care about the other ones.
We'll start at the top.
Okay, fine.
Which is Pablo Hidalgo. So
he used to work for West End Games.
Well, and He's
Right.
story group guy, in case people didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Sterling Hershey, who has also been around the block with Star Wars RPGs since the West End Games era, and all the way through WotC, and now with Fantasy Flight. Sam Stewart, who is currently the showrunner for Fantasy Flight RPG, as well as Armada. And like you said, Leo, Bill Slavicsek, who did West End and WotC stuff. And I don't know if he's contributed at all to Fantasy Flight, but with all of his work on D20 and D20 Revised and Saga, I mean, his name's all over the place there. He also did a lot of D&D stuff.
He was also basically Wikipedia before Wikipedia existed. He taught me 90% of what I know about Star Wars Legends. That man right there.
Just had him on speed dial. What is this one thing? I better call him
I
up.
don't understand. How does this work?
No, there was this book called The Essential Guide to the Star Wars Universe that at the time, when it was published anyways, had basically every character, every starship, and it just had an entry for everything, all in alphabetical order. And as a kid, I think I read through that whole thing. It's a big fat book too. It's like 4 inches thick.
But it's not a hardcover. It's like this paperback that's super thick, right?
Yeah,
with a black cover on it and a TIE fighter picture.
Yep, it's the TIE Advanced.
Yep, and it
On
said
it.
Includes information from Heir to the Empire.
Yeah, I own the second edition of the book, so that was kind of cool. Like they put out a few different editions of it too to kind of keep updating it as more came out. But I read through that book so many times as a kid,
I remember that book.
and yeah, like I said, it was basically Wikipedia before Wikipedia was a thing.
Oh, I found it on Amazon. Maybe I'm looking at A Guide to the Star Wars Universe by Bill Slavicsek. Does not have a TIE fighter on the front.
Well, I mean, like I said, it could be one of the other editions.
Yeah, this one came out in the year 2000.
Yeah, not that one.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that they kept updating it that for that long.
Well, that must have kicked off that series of The Essential Guide to Alien Species, The Essential Guide to Vehicles. They're like, wait a minute, we can sell these as individual books.
So yes, pretty bummed to be missing out on that. Let's hope
Will-
there is a stream.
Will your avatar be able to sit in on that?
I can almost assuredly convince him to, because I told him, like, I'm going to give you my badge, but I need you to do my job. And he said, yeah, okay. In fact, he's creating his own world and running our current D&D campaign. So he is an RPG person. He will appreciate all the things that are being said there.
Can you strap a camera and or a microphone to his face when he attends?
We might be able to, actually, now that you mention it. Because we've got people with cameras and apparati that we can probably affix to him.
Because I'm sure that the three of us, as well as all of our listeners, would be very eager to sit in on that, so to speak. Whether it be, something we put up on YouTube or just as a little bonus episode as an audio-only thing.
If we ever get the chance to be together and wrangle these folks again, we'll just be like, okay, just say all the things that you said on this panel into my microphone.
Is he like a trained stenographer? That would work too.
It's entirely possible. He is a writer.
Write a transcript of everything they say. Pablo chuckles.
I'll pass along all of these notes to him. Hope someone's taking notes. So that's Saturday. Sunday are the Destiny Finals. And then also another X-Wing Hangar Bay event on Sunday. So that's all the day-by-day events. Then all weekend long, they've got Star Wars RPG events, one for each series. So there's an adventure for Edge of the Empire, another adventure for Age of Rebellion, and then another one for Force and Destiny.
So is it just like you can just jump in and jump out whenever you want, or what?
Well, unfortunately, and this kind of irks me, is that they've got 2 sessions for each one of those on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. So if you want to play in Edge of the Empire, you've got 2 chances Thursday, 2 chances Friday, 2 chances Saturday, and same for the rest. And
so
then
there's a GM from Fantasy Flight who has this adventure all planned out or
yeah, because it's hosted by them, so they have their own people running it. And then there's one of each on Sunday, because Sunday is the slow day. And they always sell out super fast because there's literally only 6 tables each day. And that's maybe, I think, 6 people per table. So this makes me really scratch my head at why don't they do more? And if they had an organized play group of their own instead of somebody else doing it for them, they would have enough tables. Because with Pathfinder Society and D&D Adventure League, they take up whole big huge halls by themselves to have all these tables. And I understand that they're running these competitions, the competitive games, but it kind of stinks that people don't get the chance to dip their feet into playing the Star Wars RPG.
Organized play support for the RPG would be so sweet to have those things as like different dice.
I think that'd be amazing.
Well, all right, you won this session. It become a competition, though. Like, we only have one set of dice to give out, so whoever kills the most people.
Hey, they've been doing competitive D&D for decades. So
that sounds unfun.
It's basically just to see how far you can get in these horrible.
That sounds like everybody
dungeons.
would be a dick to everybody else.
It's
like, oops, I accidentally shot you.
It's not in the same. It's not within the team. It's against other teams.
Okay, that sounds much less stupid.
Yeah, no, that would be awful. That would be the worst RPG ever. I'm sure someone's tried too.
It would be just all the PCs fight each other, and then the last one standing gets to do the adventure.
Isn't that basically whenever you just play an evil campaign?
Yeah, I played an organized evil campaign one time. That was very interesting. They gave you these special cards for when you screwed over somebody. And I really wish that they would also make these adventures available for download because they sound interesting, just not even reading the description on the GenCon page, but just the titles. For Edge of the Empire, they've got Showdown at Raxus Prime, Age of Rebellion, Courting Mandalorians. Force and Destiny is Secrets of the Past, which doesn't tell us a lot, but Courting Mandalorian sounds like a great adventure.
That sounds like the people watched Rebels and they're like, oh, I mean, there's kind of a subplot where they're trying to get the Mandalorians to help them out, and now you get to do it in this game. I'll be super bummed if like they actually have. I'm sure they don't actually have like art with those adventures, because it's probably just an FFG employee looking at it like a text-only PDF, but.
Yeah, I do wish they would release these adventures and at least give them some cover art. Throw Sabine on the cover of that one. Done. You're welcome, FFG. You can send some money our way. You can send us these adventures.
Maybe.
Ooh, actually. Yes.
They'll announce something like that at the in-flight report.
I know. I've had my fingers crossed the past 3 years or so that they would announce something like that.
Okay. Since the in-flight report is kind of the big thing and probably the thing that's going to keep us talking about what happened at GenCon for the longest time, what do we think we're going to see at the in-flight report as far as new product announcements?
Well, not really new product, but do we think we might finally hear more about the Imperial Assault app?
I think if we don't hear word about the Imperial Assault app, that's really bad news for the app. If they're not talking about it now, I think it might be dead, which is scary. Yeah. I did have a very brief exchange with someone on Twitter who is in charge of Fantasy Flight's like digital team stuff, like the XCOM and the app for Descent. And I brought up the Imperial Assault app. I'm like, what about this one? And he's like, we said 2017, and 2017 isn't over yet. That's what he said to me. Something to that effect. which gives me hope that, it's still in the pipeline. I'm not sure why they've been so quiet about it. Maybe they just wanted to wait for Gen Con. Maybe this would be the right time. I think we'll hear about the app, but if we don't, I'm giving up hope on it.
Which would be awful because, it was basically last year they said, yeah, we've got the Descent 1, and it's going to be that, and a little bit better. So it's like you've already got a skeleton to work from. What's
right.
The issue?
The theory is that it's getting hung up with licensing issues because it's a digital Star Wars product. But Fantasy Flight already has a Star Wars app. They've got the DICE app, which uses, I think, licensed sounds and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, which makes me think that maybe the licensing thing isn't the reason, but I don't know. Maybe they've just been sitting on it and waiting for Gen Con to announce it. Yeah. I'm not sure, but I want that to happen.
Think positively. We will hear something about it.
And I remember, like last November at Worlds, when I was talking to the judges, they were, they wouldn't tell me about it, but they acknowledged that it existed.
Yeah. And there's a Q&A session at the end of the in-flight report. So if they don't say something, they have
I'm sure someone will ask.
Yes, they have to realize we're going to ask.
Give your person instructions to ask that if nobody else does, in the event that they don't bring it up.
That's fair. I will have him do that. I'll have him do it in the voice of a 1940s reporter also.
What about the Imperial Assault app?
Exactly, you got it. What's the scoop on that?
What's the skinny?
Is there like an actual reason why people talk like that?
It's called the what is it? The Mid-Atlantic accent? I forget. Yeah, I think it's called the Mid-Atlantic accent. I remember learning about why that was a thing, and now I can't remember.
I'm sure you remember.
No, the transatlantic accent or mid-Atlantic accent. This is a wiki article, so if you want to learn about it, go there. Oh, there's even a YouTube video called "Why Do People in Old Movies Talk Weird?"
Should we link this in the show notes?
Good to know.
Apparently, at least just the brief snippet that Google shows you from Wikipedia it's kind of a mix of American English and British English from like people trying to be higher class or something. I don't know.
I'll have to research later, but I'll probably forget by the time we're done recording.
I'll just do the rest of the episode in that voice so you remember.
Oh, gosh. Well, you should do the outro in the voice. All right. Okay, so next up, we're definitely...
Do we expect anything besides the app for Imperial Assault? The next wave isn't going to be... They might have it for buy it early at Gen Con, but... The next wave isn't going to be out for maybe another 4 to 6 weeks. Do we think they'll announce the next thing for Imperial Assault?
Absolutely.
I think they might. And it'll probably just be another figure pack only wave, like another 3 figures. And I think one of those figure packs is going to include a skirmish fix for Han Solo and Chewbacca.
Ooh.
So whatever Rebel people we're getting, maybe... It'll be like Zeb and Sabine in a 2-pack. I don't know.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Because, we got Hera and Chopper in a 2-pack. I feel like Zeb and Sabine would be a 2-pack, and then Kanan and Ezra would be a 2-pack. But Zeb and Sabine seem more fitting to be packaged with a fix for Han Solo and Chewbacca than Kanan and Ezra.
We don't have a Callus yet, right, for IA?
No. And at this point, I'm curious whether they'd give him to us as an Imperial or a Rebel.
Yeah. Well, that kind of rolls into the next thing that we won't get, and we're not going to get news for LCG, even though I would love for them to say, here, we're going to give you one card, and it's a Rebel version of Callus. I would just want that. I don't care.
I think new LCG news, I don't even know if that's on my wish list, but I would certainly be blown away if they give us a new product announcement for the LCG.
Yeah.
They know
If anything,
Star Wars
they might just-
LCG 2nd edition. You have to rebuy everything all over again.
That would
Okay,
really bug
sure.
me. I'd rather they just
do
killed the game. Because, I haven't invested as much in it as most of the people who love it a lot more than me. But, because I'm so new to it, I feel like, oh, really?
Well, as long as it was semi-compatible, that'd be okay. But who knows?
It doesn't seem like it's at that point. because the Game of Thrones card game was out since like 2000 or something. It took them like 15 years to give that one a second edition, and Netrunner was like a 90s game, and then they made a new Netrunner. This game's only been out for like 5 years.
Mm. But we're almost certainly going to get some new X-Wing and Armada announcements. Agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would think so.
Especially X-Wing.
Yeah, X-Wing. Yeah, we're going to get a new X-Wing thing. I'm wondering if... I don't think it'll be Last Jedi related.
You don't? You don't think we're going to see a silencer?
Well, I suppose that ship has been like made public, but...
They could at least show us the model. They could do that.
I guess. Because, yeah, maybe things aren't quite as under wraps as they were before The Force Awakens came out. Because we do know that there's Kylo Ren's ship, and we've seen the new A-Wing from the movie, and the Resistance bombers. So, maybe they could have Last Jedi showing. My wish list item for X-Wing would be something along the lines of the Carillion conflict for Armada. Like a little box that includes... They can throw in new pilots for older ships without having to reprint the ships themselves. You know, we could get Thane Kyrell for an X-Wing, or Ahsoka in an A-Wing, or...
Corrin.
That wouldn't happen.
We should be so lucky.
But you know what I mean? Like, pilots who you wish were in different ships, or pilots who aren't in the game, but if they were, they'd be in a ship that came out like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and then, you know, some kind of narrative thing would be nice. That's my wish list item for X-Wing, but I don't think seems that likely to happen. But I'm sure we'll see something for X-Wing.
So when do we expect, or do we probably already know when Empire at War is going to release, right? For Destiny? Or do we just have an approximate? Know. Well, exactly. We don't, but I don't know if there's a window.
It's on the boat.
Okay.
It's on the boat, so it should be... I think boat is usually like 3 to 8 weeks or something, depending on how much steroids their oarsmen have.
But at this point, they've spoiled pretty much everything worth spoiling for Empire at War, right?
No.
No?
They've spoiled the red characters and a couple initial characters, and that's about it.
Oh.
Like, they haven't even confirmed that Ahsoka and Lando and Boba Fett are in that wave. We are like 90% sure they are, because we've seen artwork featuring them on some images that have come out from like marketing sites or whatever. But yeah, there's still a lot they can tell us. I don't think that would be in-flight report content, though. That just, you know, expect to see another article up on the website in a week or two that'll preview them.
You know, now that you've said that out loud, though, Joe, like an hour before we're ready to post this episode, Team Covenant's gonna like have a spoiler video with all of those cards in it.
Probably.
So everyone should go find that video.
And comment how you wish that Fantasy Flight had the Jodo cast make these kind of videos. It's pretty cool, but it'd be better if it was the Jodo cast.
You can always just go make a ton of fake YouTube accounts. Just go start flooding all their videos with those comments.
Oh, it's all right, but yeah, it's no Jodo cast.
No comment. No comment. I will not encourage or discourage anyone from doing so. All right, so do you think we'll get anything else Destiny related, or think it'll just be statistics about how well it's done and how they're going to improve their distribution?
Yeah, I don't think we'll get any new product announcements for Destiny. If anything, that might just be like, oh, look, Boba Fett's coming. But that's about it.
They've also always been a little bit light on RPG announcements at the in-flight report. And although I think this year they won't have to worry about people constantly saying, where's the Bounty Hunter source book? Which happened multiple times the past few years.
Yeah.
But of course,
that's the only source book I actually have bought for Edge of the Empire.
That's the only
I
one
wish
that
I
I'm
could
really
just buy all of them, but
that.
I don't play it enough to justify buying all of them. But I had to buy the Bounty Hunter one because I only ever play as a Bounty Hunter. and it's got
Yeah.
cool art in it. And
Well, and I don't buy player books because I always run, at least 90% of the time. So, yep, most of my books are GM focused.
aren't the source books handy for GMs too? Don't they have information about worlds and things like that?
I mean, not as much as like Sons of Fortune or Lords of Nalhutta.
The adventure modules.
Sons of Fortune is, specifically, here's a whole bunch of here's all the info on Corellia. Here's some more species. Here's some more planets. Here's an adventure.
And they did just announce that that era source book for that looks like it's going to kind of cover the Rogue One Rebels era.
Mm-hmm.
Since they announced that on their website, I feel like they're not going to have anything to announce at GenCon.
I agree. I do agree with that, but they might have some more information about it. Like, you can expect to see more like this type of book in the future.
I think about the only way they would announce something at the in-flight report is if they were going to announce that they were going to be releasing like era source books for either like prequel, or they were going to start putting out prequel or like
NJO.
new trilogy era type stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
And I didn't put it on here, but since we have recently had the Rebellion expansion announced, probably not going to see too much in the way of Rebellion either, huh?
No, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
Not with that one just, right on the horizon.
And
Any
especially
expansions for the Empire and Rebellion card game?
Ooh, should we have him ask that? Why have you abandoned support for Empire versus Rebellion?
The people demand answers.
Actually, no, we should have him ask, what about Star Wars the card game? And then they'd say, oh, you mean Empire versus Rebellion?
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll see something for Armada, like the next wave, whatever that's going to be. It would be pretty sweet if they eventually brought Thrawn to Armada, even though I don't play, none of us own that game, but it seems like an injustice that there isn't a Thrawn Admiral upgrade card for Armada.
Yeah, and
it's
Ray
just
Sloan is in it, right?
Yeah, and she came out. Sloan is in it, and so is Sienna Ree from Lost Stars, and that was kind of what I was thinking with X-Wing, because the TIE Interceptor expansion was out before the book Lost Stars came out, and now there's this character who flies an Interceptor, but we don't have an Interceptor to sell you anymore. So they, just tossed that card in this campaign box, which seemed like a nice way to do it. Like, maybe they could do something similar with Ron. Maybe we'll get, like, another campaign box, like the Corellian conflict, because that, from what I can tell, is really popular with Armada players, and it seems really cool, and maybe, like, one of the more fun ways to play Armada. Maybe if that's successful enough, they'll give us another one. They'll like, here's the Solace conflict, and, just toss in, Thrawn, because I can't see them trying to resell a Star Destroyer expansion with different cards in it to get Thrawn out there. But he's got to get out there.
Is Admiral Raddus out yet?
No. And his ship might be something they would give us, but do you guys have anything else on your wish list? Something that you would make your month if they announced at the in-flight report?
That they were republishing the Decipher CCG?
Hey, maybe they'll be like, you know what? Okay, we're officially announcing there'll be no more expansions for Star Wars the card game, and their card goes, all right, whatever. And then they go, but we do have the rights now to republish the old Decipher system.
So there, that's my wish list of things that will never, ever, ever, ever happen.
Well, mine is only slightly less likely, or slightly more likely to happen, and that would be to have them announce either a deluxe expansion for the LCG of Force Awakens, or to release a new core set that would have updated cards with updated errata and a better rule book and an adjustment to the Death Star dial.
I feel like that's one of the biggest problems with that game is the core set.
Yes, exactly.
It has an outdated rule book. If you look at that rule book compared to any Fantasy Flight game that's come out within the last couple of years, it's crazy. I've never read the rule book. I'm like, this is garbage. Someone's going to just teach this to me. Like, everything I know about that game is just, from having more experienced players teach me as we played, because I was like, no. Like, I don't mind reading rule books. I'm usually the one who has to read the rule book whenever a new game comes, and I teach games to people. I was like, no, not this game. That would be probably really good for that. And you could put art on the box that wasn't just stupid pictures from the movie. That card game has, of all the games, maybe it's tied with the RPG, has the best, most art in it of all the Star Wars games. And the box just has pictures.
Yeah. I can't argue at all that the core set is just a dud. And it's only been the expansions, especially the deluxe ones, that have really made the game. So if they did decide, okay, we're going to give this one last go. We're going to make a new core set that is good and usable, that is actually going to be worth people's time, and fix the box art. That would be cool. Would be amazing. And like you said on the last podcast,
I don't even know if I have a number one wish list item. I think it's just final solid word one way or the other on the fate of the Imperial Assault app, which I feel like we're going to get, or Cad Bane and Imperial Assault. That's about it.
I'd be happy with that.
Because, I've already got Boba Fett and Chopper and Ahsoka in Imperial Assault, so I'm kind of set on those characters. And the only other ones I want are a bit out of era. Cad Bane maybe, but he's probably dead.
Probably. Well, we don't know.
They left that one hanging, but
they did. He could come back. You never know. All right.
He'll have spider legs and stuff.
Well, that's our predictions and our wish lists for the in-flight report.
And
what do our patrons think?
I was going to say we were smart enough to get a question out, but really it was Joe that was smart enough to send this question out to our patrons with enough time to actually get some answers back.
Yeah.
But actually having the question out on our Discord in our patron lounge really made a difference too. So got some instant feedback on that.
Yeah, so this is if you are a patron, you'll often get a heads up beforehand of what we're going to be recording in case you have anything to say about that topic. You help shape the episode. Because we don't like doing work for ourselves.
Power is yours.
It was in you the whole time. So we'll start at the top of our list. I'll take this one. I don't know if we want to each of us take one, or if you want me to just read these and you can tell them how they're wrong or right. But we'll start with Captain Kirk RX, Captain Kirk Prescription. I can't remember if we're supposed to say prescription or not. But he remarked that the last GenCon episodes I'm gonna just read it as it's written. Convinced me to go this year. Another prep episode about how to plan your day, what to prioritize free time on, parking, food, and any other tips. So I don't think we're going to do that on this episode, but I absolutely want to do that, and I want to get it out with plenty of time. So I am going to try to make that happen very soon after this one comes out. And if I have to get some other friends from the area to help me, or if I'm just going to do it solo, I do want to put that episode out.
And he's going to be at GenCon this year, so better be wearing a Jodo shirt so he can come find you.
I can make that happen. Okay.
And then you can sign stuff for him.
I'll sign his copy of Heir to the Jedi. I'll sign it as Joe. Sign it. Keep scooting the noodles. Love, Joe.
I'll read the next one.
Yes, you are. Go for it.
Chris. I don't remember if we got confirmation on how to pronounce his last name, so I'm going to overblow it again. Majuli. He says, I just hope they remember that the LCG still exists, close parentheses. I think it could use something like an updated core set. Oh, what a good idea. That's more playable out of the box to get a few more new players into the game. I also wouldn't mind seeing an errata card pack because I just can't keep track of them anymore. We like the way you think.
Obviously.
But the first line of your thing says, I hope they remember the LCG exists. I think that's the biggest hurdle you're going to have to get over here. It's been pointed out in some weird circles that I look at now and then where people just like to complain about that game, that at Star Wars Celebration and at San Diego Comic-Con, the LCG was absolutely nowhere to be found at the Fantasy Flight game booth. Not even, like, I wouldn't blame them for not wanting to demo that game, because if you sat down and tried to demo that to me, I probably wouldn't want to buy it. Like, you can't teach that game in, like, 30 seconds like you can with the other games. But in any case, the LCG wasn't even in their little glass case that was displaying all their Star Wars products. Like, they had literally everyone there except that game. I feel like they're trying to let it die.
We've also been thinking that for years.
Well, right. I've said before, it's like that, you know, like a 19-year-old cat, and whenever it moves, you're like, oh, look at that. At this point, I think Fantasy Flight is they're trying to stop feeding the cat at this point. They're like, God damn. At least that's my impression.
I'm just going to be laughing the whole rest of the show. Continue.
Leo, you want to take that?
You don't have to if you don't want to, but
What? Oh,
we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, all right. Well, Gustavo Archila? Yeah. He says that, you know, like 99% of people who like to play Rebels and the Rebellion and X-Wing, he wants a T-65 fix.
Which is something else they could put into a campaign box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, like I said there, put in corn in an X-Wing. There, that'll fix it.
Done. Give him a Whistler upgrade. And actually, you know what? I was talking with one of my work friends about the new title cards that have come out, and I was like, oh, do they have a title card for any X-Wings yet? And the only one they have is Black 1. Like that ship needs as much help. It's like, come on. How? How are you not giving us a T-65 title card yet? I mean, maybe there is one, and I'm just not...
No, I would have corrected you by now.
I would have hoped so.
Yeah,
anyways.
The X-Wing kept getting little nudges here and there, but it's never been quite enough. Like the integrated astromech upgrade was a help, but in the end, it just turned into something that helps Biggs most of all. So, yeah, that would be real nice if, you know, the game called X-Wing made X-Wings more fun to play in a competitive setting.
All right. Well, another person who has good ideas, Stuart, he says,
You got to do it in an Irish accent.
He's Scottish, though. Why would you do it in an Irish accent?
Oh, my gosh.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Is he sure?
I'm pretty sure because I know where I sent his cards.
Oh, well, I don't look at his address, and I guess I just never knew. Sorry, Stuart. I'm sure that was really offensive. Don't want to associate yourself with those guys.
Let's see, if I try to do the voice, it'll come out sounding like a Welsh accent, and then I'll just have pissed off everybody.
Just channel your Willie, the janitor.
Yes, I'm sure that would go over really well. If I do that, it'll be after the show. It'll be a patron only special bonus feature. So,
and
hey, become a patron.
We'll include a little GIF of Stuart just shaking his head with his...
what? What about peanut butter?
I'm
sure Stuart would provide us with that.
We could do a GIF of an at.
Oh, gosh.
It's the same thing. It just doesn't matter.
Nobody's sculpting AT-ATs out of peanut butter.
For the record, I don't like saying at. I just had to stir the pot.
Only bad people like at.
I just don't care. And for the record, it has been said both ways in canon, specifically so people can shut up about it.
So,
okay. What's Stuart have to say?
Stuart says,
That Australian.
Goodness. I hope for an X-Wing co-op / campaign expansion with AI style rules for enemy fighters and artificial intelligence, not assault Imperial style rules. So yeah, I mean, basically what we've said before, something like Corellian Campaign for X-Wing, in which they could include all manner of cool things. And yeah, this is something else that I would be more inclined to play, like I'm more inclined to play Campaign for Imperial Assault.
And I mean, I think we've talked about it before, but there's like a fan-made thing along those lines called the Heroes of the Aturi Cluster, which is actually really popular, but I don't think I'll ever get around to doing that because you got to print out a whole bunch of stuff, and if I could just buy it in a box. I mean, it's been really successful with fans, so I feel like Fantasy Flight might have finally been like, yeah, people want this.
Spending money is way easier than putting any of my own effort forth.
So basically he wants more RPG in X-Wing, and I think that sounds awesome.
I agree. Jesse Mason said, I believe they'll release the app after the in-flight report. They've been awfully quiet about it since its announcement. And then I imagine his eyes darting back and forth, suspiciously.
Or looking like Fry in that meme.
Yeah, so Jesse thinks as soon as the in-flight report's done, they'll be like, check your phones, it's live, ready to roll right now. Which, that would be cool.
They might, because they released, what was it last year? Mansions of Madness 2. They anned it and then released it immediately.
Second edition, not Mansions of Madness 2.
Oh, fine. Second edition.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could be corrected by you at this time. It's always appreciated.
I just had a shock. I have two glasses sitting here. One was full of wine, and the other was water. And I took a sip of the wrong glass because I thought I was drinking water, and then this stuff with actual flavor hit me, and I was really freaked out. It took me a second to figure out what was going on. Thought you should know. Struggling.
I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that. The struggle.
It's all good. I've recovered. We're back in the game now.
All right.
All right. There's one last patron who had to get his voice out there.
The question is, can we get Leo to read it, or will you or I?
Possibly.
All right, well.
But unlikely.
Yeah, no.
All right.
So while he deliberates, we are going to go to a quick commercial break. This show is brought to you by our patrons. All right, well, we're coming back.
At Buckwheat Noodles. Get your buckwheat noodles here every day.
The scootiablest noodles on the market.
Now you got to sing a Prairie Home Companion style song about buckwheat noodles.
Buckwheat noodles, buckwheat noodles. I don't give a wheat noodles.
That's going to be a ringtone.
Yes. Okay. Final comment about GenCon comes from Kurt Larson, and he says that the Imperial Assault app is something he's definitely hoping for news on, and it would also probably be a good time to announce new Armada ships. His guesses include the MC-75, which was the Profundity, which was Admiral Radish's ship in Rogue One. Also the U-Wing and TIE Striker from Rogue One. But yeah, he's not sure what the Imperials would get to round that out.
For a capital ship. They could just have the shield gate over Scarif. It just sits there.
Just put it in the middle of the battlefield.
Yeah, I'm really curious if they do an Armada announcement, what the Empire is going to be getting for a ship. Because I'm sure other people who are more into Armada have brainstormed, but I feel like they've kind of exhausted their options at the moment. I mean, there's a lot of legend stuff out there, but...
All right, well, that wraps up
Is there interdictors in Armada?
Yep.
Yeah.
Apparently they're not very competitive. but also fun in the Carillion conflict, because, in that campaign, going to hyperspace is actually a thing, which is not a thing when you're just playing a regular game.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our patron input on this episode, and thank you all for sending us your great ideas that we clearly plagiarized. And we look forward to the next time we get to hear from you. Like I said, Joe has been on top of that, making sure to get questions out both on our patron Discord lounge as well as on the messaging system or the posts on Patreon itself. Is there anything else that we need to talk about before we wrap up? I'm going to take the silence as a no. In that case, I don't know, both of you sound pretty tired. Maybe I'll just do the wrap-up, huh?
Oh, you just really loving doing these lately.
Well, because I know how much you absolutely hate them.
How do you know I hate it?
I guess I don't. Am I wrong?
You might be.
All right, well, if that's the case, I won't step on your toes.
You could support this playful banter on Patreon by going there and seeing if it's something that you want to do. The support we get from our patrons is, I'd say immeasurable, but it actually technically is measurable, but it's like amazing. Right? Yeah. Especially B Standing, our newest patron. Can't forget about B Standing. If you are really sick of wherever you're currently listening to us and are looking to make a change, you could listen to us on iTunes, where you should leave us a review, because allegedly that is very healthy for podcasts to get reviews on iTunes. You can go to Google Play Music, which, do people even use that for podcasts? I don't know. You can go to Stitcher, and we just have a straight-up RSS feed that you can stick into your fax machine, and it'll print out the transcripts of our conversations. Right? That's what fax machines are for.
As far as I know, yes.
Did you know that the fax machine is older than the telephone? Now you do.
No. Oh, okay. Man, I've learned so much tonight.
You could fact check that. I could be wrong. It's older than something that you wouldn't expect it to be older than, is what I remember, but I think it's the phone. You can watch us play games live on Twitch. If you are in our Discord channel, we have a little bot that'll tell you whenever we go live, which is handy. And usually it's if we're playing Battlefront or something, but we go on Twitch every now and then. You can check us out on YouTube, where there are easy to digest Imperial Assault, Destiny, Star Wars: A Card Game videos, and some other random stuff sprinkled in there. And like we've said, you can talk to us on Discord, where all the cool people hang out, and the patrons get their own secret club. Or you can go to reddit.com/r/JodoCast and post whatever you want, because it's kind of a ghost town these days. Or you can go to jodocast.com, in case you forgot everything, because it's all there. And more. But don't email us unless you want to. Because apparently they get through. We got one the other day, didn't we?
Yes.
So you could email us show@jodocast.com for all of your super urgent things that you're willing to risk getting lost in the spam hurricane.
Hurricane's about the only way to describe that. Maybe tsunami. Okay, well.
I did it. Did it sound like I hated it? I loved every second of it.
It's... Oh, goodness. Okay, well, good. I will learn to never just assume things with you again in the future. Although I think my assumptions for Leo were pretty safe.
What?
Exactly. There you go. Perfect. With that, I think we're going to call it there for the night. So...
Are your family members on Discord? Can we invite them over real quick so we can talk?
Have a little chat? Yeah. I doubt it.
Why we brought you on here.
I'll have them guest star on the next episode and just be like, so, did you know what you did?
What is your favorite thing? Okay, now we're going to make sure you don't get to do that thing. How does that make you feel?
Yes. If people want to know how I really feel, they can hit me up on Twitter.
You should live tweet your extra depressing version of Jen Can't.
Oh man, I have to do that this year. Oh.
And if you're unfamiliar with GenCon, you might also be unfamiliar with GenCant, which is where most of the world is. If you're not at GenCon, you're at GenCant.
And it's a real thing. It's not just
It's
like
getting
you're
bigger,
sitting at
too.
home
People do, like-
crying.
Well, that's part of it, but people have been doing like giveaways and stuff on Twitter. GenCant seems to happen primarily on Twitter, but
I'd be surprised if there isn't a pretty big YouTube presence also.
maybe I'll have to do something for GenCant this year.
Go for it.
What weekend is that?
17, 18, 19, 20.
17, 8
I know those dates well.
of August?
Yes.
The 19th is, I think, Destiny Store Championship, so I'll be playing in a tournament, so I'm probably not making a video that weekend.
You should record yourself and just be like, hey, guy that I'm facing off for big prizes. Do you mind if I record us? Like, yeah, your cards too.
I don't like any of the Store Championship prizes for Destiny this year.
Yeah, they're not good.
I mean, the Spot Gloss Phasma card is cool, but it's a character I'm not interested in, and I don't have any of, so if I somehow won it, I'd have to go buy like a single for Phasma, which I don't want to do.
Yeah.
The playmat is just Phasma, the same art from the card. I guess a regional buy would be nice, but I don't expect I'm going to get first place, because my decks aren't as meta as the other ones.
All right, well, we'll quit teasing you with the ending like Peter Jackson and bid you good night, and we will see you next time. Come hang out on Discord. Come say hi for reals.